music. Hearing about the music outside. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Susan Allspector, and I'm running for Circuit Court Group 39. I have been a marital and family trial attorney for nearly 27 years, practicing here in the courts in Broward County. I also am involved in a lot of work around the community, and I'm dedicated to this community. For the last 4 years, I have been a pro bono attorney representing veterans here in our court system, free of charge, through a program called Mission United. And as I said, last 4 years. I'm also the volunteer coordinator for Mission United. And that's under the United Way of Broward County. And I do that because our veterans have kept us safe and free and allowed me the opportunity to represent people and help uphold the law. I'm also a volunteer with the Boys and Girls Clubs, another fabulous and worthy organization. And I also work with the bar to promote professionalism and ethics within the legal community, which instills your trust as the public in the legal community. Now, I've been a resident for 48 years, and my roots run deep here. And it is very important to me what happens in this community, because I'm part of this community. And in practicing marital and family law, I've developed patience and good listening skills and empathy for the people that I help get through difficult times in their lives. And those are the exact qualities that we need in judges. I promise you that I will always work hard for you, and I will always treat you with compassion and dignity and respect and as an equal. My name is Susan Allspector, Group 39 Circuit Court. Thank you.
And the next person, bring on down Camille Cooledge-Shotwell.
I was kind of hoping the music would stay. My name is Camille Cooledge-Shotwell. I'm running for Circuit Court Judge in Group 39. I also practice family law, real estate, and commercial litigation for 17 years. I've had my own firm for the last 12 years. And I've been practicing law, helping families throughout Broward County navigate through difficult times in their lives, and I know what that's like because I was one. I raised my sister's kids from, my youngest was 3 days old when I got her, and they're now 21 and 26. And that's part of who I am, and that helps me navigate through the system for my clients. Now, I've also been asked why I want to become a judge, because I never wanted to be a judge. It's not a career ambition for me. It's more of a calling. 2 years ago, my sister-in-law was murdered in a domestic violence, and I've had to go into the courtroom again as a member of the community. And I bring a different perspective, and I think that it'd be an asset to have someone that sits on the bench who sat on the same bench in the courtroom as I have. And I want to bring that humanity and compassion to the bench with the understanding of how important it is that justice is served in a courtroom. Again, Camille Cooledge-Shotwell.
Susan, if you could, we've been talking a lot tonight about two standards of justice, and that there are large segments of our community that don't believe that what happens in that courthouse is fair or just, and that if you have money or you're white or you know the right people, different results happen. Talk to us about that.
That is absolutely true. That is a fact in the court system here in Broward County and probably in many other parts of the nation. The truth is that if you're in an underserved population, if you're a minority, then your brushes with the law happen even before you even come into a courtroom. For example, an arrest record can affect employment opportunities for someone for the rest of their lives, and that has nothing to do with a conviction, just an arrest. And then you have a situation where someone may not be able to afford bail for a petty crime, for a small misdemeanor, and that means someone stays in jail maybe a first offender, a non-violent theft, something like that. And that person stays in jail, loses economic opportunities, and then also has to face the court system where there is no doubt implicit bias at a minimum, and sometimes outright prejudice. And the problem is people who don't have enough money find that they don't have access to the best attorneys, unfortunately, or they have access to attorneys who have a lot on their plates. And unfortunately, that creates a dichotomy. So, of course, you have a situation where people, because of the economic opportunities that have been afforded to them, have an ability to obtain superior justice. And basically the answer is that's unacceptable. And there have to be ways to educate judges and educate the public. But at the end of the day, everyone deserves an equal shake and equal rights in court.
You talked a little bit about a family member that was murdered, and I'm so sorry. And your husband, you talk about often, and the truth is, and everyone should know it, he was a hero. He is a hero. He defended someone, saved their life, and he got shot. And he will carry that for the rest of his life, and he's truly the hero. And I don't think there's a person who knows him that doesn't admire him and you and what you've all gone through. But here's my question to you. The other side of the coin, not with your husband, Fort Lauderdale Police has a long history of racist law enforcement. It has been proven empirically that whether somebody is riding a bike, they will be stopped if they're black, because the citations issued, 96% of them were for people who were African American. If they're walking not on a sidewalk, they're going to be stopped if they're black. 97% of those were African American. And if you are driving in a car, you will be stopped, and 70% of all people stopped for not wearing a seatbelt are African American. My question to you is, you're married to a hero, and you're married to a great Fort Lauderdale police officer. You may be in a position where you're going to have to call out his colleagues and say, no, you've lied, you've cheated, you didn't play fair. My question is, can you do it, and how is that going to affect you when you go home?
Well, anyone who knows my husband and I know that we don't share the same opinions on certain things. I was asked this question in the Sun Sentinel interview in the endorsement process, if I could be unbiased when it is dealing with a law enforcement officer. My response is, well, you don't spend the mornings in the kitchen with my husband and I don't follow along everything he says. However, I will tell you what I said to them. Bad cops make my good cop look bad, okay? He did his job. The only thing I've ever asked anyone, whether it's in my office or a member of my family, my husband, my colleagues, do your job. That's why I got on this journey, is because when he did get shot, we had to go through the grand jury. And that was difficult for me as a wife, not an attorney, but as a wife. I mean, he got shot. He did his job. But it was important for the transparency in Broward County to have that proceeding, to have 23 witnesses, including him. And at the end of the day, they said, you know what, detective, you did your job, and thank you for your service. And the ones who don't are an embarrassment. And they make what my husband did a little less valuable.
I didn't hear what he said. I'm going to ask both of you the same question so you'll know. Susan, you've been running for office, and we've talked about it here. People don't realize until they run how large Broward County is. how many people, the geography is huge, how much effort it takes. My question is, both of you were fully grown adult lawyers and you had your ideas and attitudes and you were well into your life. Tell me how the people in the county have changed what you think.
I actually get a little emotional about this. Running for office has been one of the most transformational experiences of my life. I said, I've lived here for 48 years. And you think you know people until you actually go and talk to them. You think you know what people are about because you've been here and you have your neighbors and you have your family and you have your friends. But gosh, when you hear the individual stories of the people that make up this community, your life is so changed, especially me. Here I am, a white person, living in this community. I've been raised with solid values. My parents always taught me that the color of your skin or the language you speak doesn't matter. And here I am talking to people, knowing that in my heart, and hearing the stories of people that have struggled against injustice. Injustice that I never saw, never had to witness as a white person. And it is just, and when I talk about people of color, I'm people, black, brown, people from all over, immigrants all across this community. And what an amazing thing to be able to really experience it when you hear those stories, the people that will challenge you to think differently, the people that will challenge what you thought you knew about this community. And I gotta tell you, it has made me, I say, win or lose, I am a different person. And I am just so glad that I've done this because I've got to meet people like you who are engaged in the process and really excited to do this. And people who still, after all we hear, want change and they want justice. And that's wonderful.
Well, the last year, I've been doing this now for about 14 months, and I will tell you that, as I mentioned, I never wanted to be a judge, so it was never my ambition to get out necessarily and talk about myself, which has been a hugely uncomfortable position for me. And it does help to get out and share your story because you inspire other people and they inspire you. I've been in the community. I've been a member of this community for years, and I have served this community. I've been on the Emerald Society for the last 7 years. I've also worked with the 100 Club that helps families of first responders. I've been doing this, and I get out and I talk to people, but what's changed me is that I have to tell them about myself. And in that, I find an understanding when I tell my story to people that look at me, and although they're very empathetic to me, they also understand my motivation, and they feed me, and I do the same. And I think that it's important to do that. I've done that before, and it's important because I hear other people's stories, and that's what I do. People tell me their story. As a lawyer, you come into my office, I say, tell me your story. Tell me what you want to get out of this. Now I got to tell them my story. And it's difficult. My story is difficult. And the last 14 months has absolutely changed me. And hopefully it's been a benefit to the people that I've been able to connect with.
Well, those are your very impressive candidates for this race.